You're tuned to Russ McClellan and Friends on the Real Estate Show Home Sweet Home. Let's get back to Russ.
Hey, welcome back to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan. And today got Nate Woods here. How you doing, Nate?
Hey, I'm doing really good.
Good. Last couple shows talking about real estate and Nate Woods at kw.com. You can also get a hold of Nate on his cell phone, 509-679-7189. I can guarantee you Nate will give it everything he has to protect you and get you what you need.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. I'm excited to be in business with you. You know, the other day, a lot of times on this show, I'll take a left turn, dive into some strange things. So every once in a while, we do talk about real estate like we did today, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes I talk about life.
That's good.
You know, I think we're in a weird time, man. I think we're kind of, it's an election year, so every 4 years is a weird time in this country. There's, it seems to me, maybe I'm wrong, but it seems to me like there's more polarizing thoughts than there has ever been.
You're right.
And maybe that's a product of social media. Maybe it's, there's more information available and it's very difficult to determine what is real, what is just something somebody threw out there as an agenda. And whether it's your friends or whether it's your acquaintances or whether it's people that might be on your social media accounts, for me personally, I find it fascinating that the triggers that are out there, that people are getting so emotional about everything. And I just was thinking about ego. What does that really mean? And I was reading this article recently, and I thought I'd just share some of them. And the article is by a guy named Ryan Holiday. It's actually fairly old. It came out April 27th, 2018. So a few years ago. But the title was 25 Ways to Kill the Toxic Ego That Will Ruin Your Life. So it's really talking about one's self. And I thought about that a lot. When I was younger, some might have accused me of, let's say, having extreme youthful exuberance.
Yeah. Right.
I started in real estate when I was 19. So,
oh, man.
30 some years later, I'm not the same person I was a month ago, let alone when I was 20.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd just share some of these because it's pretty fascinating. One of them is, this is pretty interesting. Choose a live time over dead time. And what this article says, according to author Robert Greene, there are two types of time in our lives. Dead time, when people are passive and waiting, and a live time when people are learning and acting and utilizing every second. What's interesting, and especially during a world pandemic, during failure, your ego will naturally pick dead time. And you start, woe is me. You start thinking the world's revolving around you and you're the only person. And your ego, if your ego is in a negative spin, you'll think that, I'm obviously the most important thing in the world. And this is only happening to me. And nobody else has ever suffered in the history of time. And
there's definitely truth to that.
Yeah. And so, the idea is to counteract that is don't do that. Choose a live time, be aggressive. And, it's okay to feel bad. It's okay to understand that bad things happen to good people, but maybe there's an old saying, what happens to you doesn't define you, but maybe what you do next does.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. Get out of your own head is another one. This self-aggrandizement where it's me, like self-centered and focused on yourself. I think we tend to, and I'm including me in this for sure. We tend to be defensive, right? Like instead of when someone tries to help you, instead of taking the constructive criticism, our natural ego says, What'd you say?
Right.
That's BS, man.
Yeah, we take it as all criticism is non-constructive.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, and I was listening to a podcast the other day, Nate, and it said, look, a lot of times it's thinking about, is the criticism coming from a place or a person that wants to help you? Or is it coming from a place or a person that has the intent on hurting you? And naturally, the example that they gave, and I'll get to it, but naturally our brains are so wired with so much data hitting us for the first time. And at least for an older guy like me, I'm 51. I remember when there was no cell phones, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like Nate, just kind of put it in perspective. I got into real estate when the fax machine wasn't invented yet.
Oh, man.
Yeah, like,
Man, okay.
It's amazing I'm alive, right? Like I'm so old. No, I'm 51. So I've learned a lot, but A good example of that was and you come from a big family, so you can
Yeah.
imagine if your mom says something to you, Nate, that is constructive criticism, there's a pretty good chance you're going to listen to it.
Yeah.
Because
Try to.
you love your mom, and you know that your mom loves you, and that the intent is to help you. But see, naturally, I think we have a tendency to think everybody's out to get us if it's coming from somebody maybe that we don't know, so we get defensive. And maybe analyzing that, maybe not everybody is out to get you. Maybe there are some people that really are trying to help you. And I talk about
That is
you,
true.
meaning just in general, right? Another one of these 25 ways to kill a toxic ego is let go of control. It says the poisonous need to control everything and micromanage is usually revealed with success. Ego starts saying it all must be done my way. Even little things, even inconsequential things, the solution is straightforward. A smart man or woman must regularly remind themselves of the limits of their power and reach. It's simple, but not easy. So like kind of get out of our own way. The world isn't revolving around just one human.
That's good.
Right? Like
That's really good.
It's we can, and that's one of the things about Keller Williams that I love is I often say it, but I truly believe it. We are almost always smarter as a collective than we are as an individual. Everyone, whether you're day one in real estate and you're 18 years old or whether you've been in real estate for 50 years, both those people in that example can learn from each other. I learn from people every day. And the fact that I have 32 years experience sometimes helps me greatly and I can help others, but sometimes it actually hinders me. And there's a new or a fresh idea that maybe I'm not aware of. So by being a learning-based person and a company, I think that's a good culture for all of us.
Oh yeah, I'd say the majority of us all really want the same thing in its own way. Not saying everybody does, but majority. And as long as we can embrace that, we can kind of go far.
Yeah, I mean, have a good life. Be at peace. I mean, be happy. Laugh a little bit. It's a good thing. This is kind of interesting. Place the mission and purpose above you. So, for example, we were just talking about fiduciary.
Oh, yeah.
You might have your own goals. You might have your own needs. Maybe they're monetary. Maybe they're more about helping how many families. But really, if you put someone else's needs in front of yours and just focus on that as the priority, maybe good things will happen. But I think sometimes instinctually, we're so caught up in what we think and like our little mind. In Keller Williams, we call it the drunk monkey.
The drunk monkey?
The drunk monkey that sits on your shoulder telling you all these egotistical, or limiting beliefs like, oh, you can't do that or you can't do this.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, so we assassinate the drunk monkey around here.
That's cool. Yeah, I think all like tenets of like some philosophies out there, whether it is you sow what you reap, you reap what you sow, karma, all those things, they kind of believe in that, like, hey, just go out and put something else better before yourself, right? Like, don't always be ego driven.
Yeah, well, that's the whole idea, right? And all of a sudden that takes the stress off too, because that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself to think that you're all that in a bag of chips all the time. Yeah. I love this one. When you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. Now, I just did this the other day. We have a managing broker, Stephanie, who's amazing. And she, especially people that are in the first 2 years of their career, we legally need to watch their files. And I'm the designated broker of the company. So together we're kind of overwatching just to make sure that, not to be critical, but just to coach through situations and make sure the T's are crossed, et cetera, because it is contracts. And I had given a piece of advice to one of our agents. Stephanie gave simultaneously, because we kind of worked together and tag team, a different piece of advice. And, real estate is not always black and white. There's a lot of ways to look at things. So we talked and we tried to stay on the same page. And then I thought I was right. She thought she was right. And I had to stop digging because she was right and I was not right. I was like, well, there you go.
As long as you realize it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? The act of self-awareness is a good thing, and realizing that you're not always right. I mean, nobody is. We're just not, right? So it's okay, and don't make things work worse by having an ego and saying, well, this is always about, I'm always right. No. Most of the time, it's smarter as a collective. This is a good one, and I've actually gone through this. It says, don't be deceived by recognition, money, and success. Stay sober.
Oh, that's good.
And I can tell you, I once upon a time had a little bit of money before the recession, and I unknowingly unknowingly found myself becoming something that I didn't want to be. I didn't know that I was even doing it. But what ends up happening is that money and power can intoxicate you. And just like when you're intoxicated by alcohol or something like that, you're going to find that you don't make the best decisions. That you kind of can, it's easy to lose track of what's really important, and you don't necessarily do it intentionally. And so staying sober, and staying sober not in the alcohol sense, but staying sober when you do achieve something, that to realize that it probably took a lot of people to help you get there.
Yeah.
And your friends, your family, your educators, whoever, right? Your whole life, it was really probably less to do with you than it was to do with a whole bunch of other people that supported you. So just stay sober, realizing that regardless, like Jeff Bezos often says, like, I have to stay focused on the present and not get too excited about the things I've accomplished, or they can go away.
Yeah, that's good.
I learned that one the hard way. Well, anyway, I appreciate you coming in. We got one more segment with Sharon Crockett and Prime Lending. Man, Nate, I'm glad you're with our company. If you want to get a hold of Nate Woods with Keller Williams, 679-7189. You can also email Nate at natewoods@kw.com. Thanks for coming in, Nate.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll be right back with Sharon Crockett and Prime Lending.
Home sweet home.